Hey guys, it's Sarah from Just My Typewriter, and today I have a big office standard on my desk. I don't often talk about the big office standard machines in my collection. There are a lot of different sizes of typewriters, but there's three main categories on the manual side. You have the ultra portable, the really lightweight machines. They often come in a leather carrying case or with a case topper. You have the portables, which are the mid-size machines. They're the ones I have the most of. And then you have the big daddy office desk machines, the ones that need a desk. That's why they're called desk machines. And I have a few of these in my collection, but I don't often use them because I just don't have enough desks. But if I had to pick one out of all the standards that I have, this is the one that is probably my favorite to use. This is my 1956 Royal HH. It is in the brown frieze color, and it is just a fantastic heavy duty machine. I love the concept of office standards because I think they're really well built. They're built for heavy use from a lot of work, a lot of different people to last a really long time. They're designed to be serviced really easily because they are, again, a work office machine. They have to be worked on. They have to be something consistent that you can use in that workplace. They have all of the functions. All the great functions are on the office desk standard machines, and they kind of reduce them as they go into the portables. And I really like how hefty they are, how well they type, and to me, this machine is the smoothest out of the ones that I have. I could sit down and write at this machine all day long. It's one of the first machines I actually ever got in my collection. I had just started collecting in September, and by Christmas that year, I got two for Christmas. That was the Underwood Model 6 in my collection, Claire, and this 1956 Royal HH named Huxley. Now the Royal HH came after the KMG machine, which is a really popular. The KMM and the KMG are very popular Royal desk models. This guy was after that one and before the Royal FP, which I really like the style of. They have the push button front on them like the Futuras. They're the 1960s version of the office desk standard. This guy is right in the middle as the 1950s version. You can see in the design of it, it's very similar to the Royal Quiet Deluxes of the 1950s. Now, I've gone on record many times saying I don't like the 1950s Royal Quiet Deluxes. And if you do, that's totally fine. I don't have personal great experience with them. But I like the style of those 50s machines can be found here in the desk version, where it's a little bit heftier and easier to work on. I like the concept of the Royal Quiet Deluxe from the 1950s, but I like the functionality of the desk standard from the 1950s so much better. The Royal HH was announced in 1952 as the next Royal Standard model, and it did come in a bunch of colors, but they all have fancy names and I can't remember them, so I need my script. The Royal HH model came in charcoal gray, smooth, Nile green, smooth, horizon blue, smooth, coral rose, gray frieze, royal tone, dark gray wrinkle, and royal tone, light gray wrinkle. And mine particularly comes in the brown frieze finish, which is a little bit more of a crinkle paint finish. It's not smooth and shiny, but it's not as crinkly as maybe some of the Smith Coronas from the same time period. There are also some functions on this machine that, if you look at the advertising, are heavily advertised as time-saving functions. Things like their top pop top. Oh, so good. I love it. It's so, it makes me so happy. That pop top is called a time-saving top. Try saying that 5 times fast. So that was considered a time-saving feature on this typewriter, as well as having some other additional features here on the keyboard, like the tab key over there is designed a little bit different so that you can easily create tabs and clear tabs on the keyboard without having to use additional buttons here up on the top of the machine. It also has the tension on the outside of the typewriter, which I really like, that idea of being able to control the tension on the outside of the machine really easily. It also has the Royal Magic margins. Not my favorite, but I do think that they are a nice feature that Royal likes to advertise in a lot of their product placements and advertisements as their main selling feature. It does have the magic margins, and it also has a removable platen, which I didn't learn until recently, but I really love. The easy removable platen on this is really simple to use, just great on these machines. I always love that feature, and I like to find it in these desk standards because it's always a surprise to me. Really easy to utilize on this machine. Something that I don't often find on portables, but I do find on desk standards, and this one has it as well, is a card holder, and I really like that feature. Sometimes when you're typing on a smaller piece of paper or even cardstock, it can be difficult for it to fit here across the platen and make it under this baler across the top, which this baler has a lot of tension on it. There's some additional springs here, which makes it kind of really nice and snappy. But this also has card holders on it so that if you roll through, for example, an index card, which I do often, you can type on it and it'll hold it in place. And I really like that feature on this machine as well. I think it just gives it some more additional functionality that you don't always find on those portables, because this has to do a lot more work than other machines normally do because it's in an office. I really like using this machine. I think it operates really well. It's very smooth. So let's do a little type test. The thing that I like about these office standards is how well they're built. I often complain about portables that slide while typing because they're just not heavy enough to weigh themselves down. I've never had that issue on an office desk standard. The trade-off is how large it can be. But I do think if you are a heavy typewriter user, or maybe you're planning to write a novel or write something consistently, you might want to go for an office standard, and this one just happens to be my workhorse. Now, there are quite a few authors who actually used Royal HHs, and that is kind of a testament to how well loved this machine is. And again, I wrote them down in case I would forget them. So Charles Bukowski, George Burns, Truman Capote, Alice Denham, Sterling North, and Sylvia Plath. All of them used Royal HHs in their writing. And if you were to ask me what kind of typewriter I would use if I was going to write a novel, first of all, I'd have to get an idea for a novel, but I would definitely turn to a machine like this, and probably this one specifically. I find it's really easy to sit at and use all day, especially when you can adjust the touch control of the machine. I think it's easy to clean, it's all encompassing. I really like how well built this machine is, which is not something I often say about Royal typewriters, but something about this model specifically really speaks to me as a typewriter user and collector. And again, I like machines from the 1950s. I think they are the classic typewriter. They're all well built. I think they are designed well, and the aesthetics can vary so much from brand to brand. Royal really did a lot of interesting things with their aesthetics, especially after the 1960s, and as they started to bring on other designs from other companies into their machines. But this to me is the classic 1950s office typewriter. I think it's well built, and I really enjoy using this machine. If you're interested in more typewriter content, I do some other videos on this YouTube channel as well as on Instagram at just.my.typewriter. I want to thank you all so much for watching and remind you, you're just my typewriter.